Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about MMOs or massively multiplayer online RPGs or MMOs are a great tool for making friends, making enemies, gaining weight, and getting some teamwork skills going on. There's a lot of more positives than there is negatives, but MMOs have sort of a kind of a negative rep, I guess you can say. So, let's just talk about my issues with MMOs nowadays. Before that, let's just talk about my first MMO. My first MMO was RuneScape, and that was good times back when it was in its classic 2D stage. It was classical. It was awesome. It was new for me. It was new because at the time I was playing Resident Evil and Final Fantasy on my PS1. So playing a game where there was other people there too was kind of like, oh my god, I'm not alone in the world of RuneScape. Cool. I remember I was trying to talk to NPCs, typing in chat like an idiot. I'll walk up towards the general area of the shop. People would be I'd just hit my spacebar. I'm like, hey, can I buy this from you? And no answer. I'm like, dude, I just want to buy this from you. And he's like, nothing, because I didn't click on them or anything. It took me 15 minutes to realize I got to click on them. And I don't know, at the time I thought it was better than it actually was. I thought, oh my god, it was gonna be so magical and high tech and whatnot. Anyways, moving on. It was such a great experience for me because it made me realize I can forge friendships by grouping with people and fighting monsters together. It introduced me to the power of trading and understanding the virtual economy, It also taught me that people are fucking assholes and they suck, but a free-to-play game taught me all of these life lessons. And from RuneScape I played many other free-to-play games as well. But really, they all followed the same kind of similar model, except that it was more user-friendly, or sometimes you need more concentration, hand-eye coordination for it. Maybe the combat was a bit better. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. Because what happens was they all followed the one formula of one certain game. That's World of Warcraft. Now that game blew my goddamn mind. I mean, all of these people, everyone was running around doing quests and fighting dungeons together, doing all that character building bullshit. So what happens? I stopped playing after the first month because, one, I wasn't good at World of Warcraft, and it was during BC that I played that game, and it was horrible because a friend of me and Richard would be playing this game for a month, and oh, it's so cool, we're gonna get a guild, we're gonna get friends, we're gonna play. We got bored after level 20 because we didn't like grinding. It was really bad. Anyways, I was playing Guild Wars 1 at the time. Guild Wars 1 was a better game in my opinion. There wasn't a high amount of levels. It made me think of my skill choices. PvP was really cool because I was young and I was hip and I was trendy. The difference between Guild Wars and World of Warcraft was that you didn't have to grind to get a high level for gear. In Guild Wars, all you had was level 20. That was it. Level 20, that's it. That's where you were. It was like a placeholder because once you hit 20, you're not grinding for skills, and you're not grinding for gear and weapons. Levels in that game were so inconsequential that you just needed it for that shit. Guild Wars wanted you to start rolling yourself to a higher purpose immediately. Instead of Warcraft, who just wanted to make you A, level to level 60, which was a long time back then, and B, then you get gear, and then you fight with guild mates and whatnot for shit like that, But okay, hold on. Let's just backtrack a lot. Okay, let's just change this conversation a bit. This is becoming a comparison between WoW and Guild Wars. I don't want that. So let's give myself a little topic here. How about this? My feelings on MMOs these days are relatively negative. So I feel that these days MMOs are relatively the same. Some are breaking borders with new systems and dynamic content. The others are kind of following the same World of Warcraft model. Why? Well, because it's so goddamn successful. 10 million plus subscriptions cannot be wrong, and maybe half of those are bots, whatever. As successful as it is, it does get boring though. I mean, the systematic gameplay routine takes its toll on you, and eventually you'll find yourself doing laps around your home city, even subconsciously doing it, going, oh, just waiting for a group, and you're flying around the same loop every day, every minute. You're oh man, and you don't even think about it anymore. You're just doing it just because you're passing time. But it's 'cause, like, I think that something needs to be changed or added to MMOs to kind of make sure the player does not do those laps. something different. So I'll probably be applying this kind of the World of Warcraft. Like, for example, World of Warcraft needs a new questing kind of dynamic, something different. Because when I was doing Mist and Pandaria's expansion, you know, it was Zach and I got onto it, and we're like, oh my god, we're gonna make pandas, it's gonna be awesome. Arena, PvE, all that stuff, grinding. So we started doing our quests, and I was like, yeah, cool. And we're doing the quest, but the problem is, though, when we were questing, we weren't reading the quests. We were like, click the guy twice, scroll straight to the bottom, and like, okay, he wants to do this, let's go. You know, there's no, like, we didn't have the direction, we didn't have, like, oh, because of the rainfall, we have to go and get the rice, bring it over here and plant it there, because we're gonna be the rice farmer, you know, something like that. So, questing has to be more dynamic, it has to be interesting. You have to feel like you're a part of the world, instead of like, oh, guys, I got a quest, and it's gonna suck. Hold on, guys, I gotta make my leveling playlist, and listen to 100 hours of music that makes me rage, and whatnot. Makes me more interested, because questing in that game, it's not fun. I mean, the worst part about like leveling a character is the quests, and you don't, and I don't know, I mean, questing, it just feels so uninteresting. You don't look at the quest, you're like, it's just a means to an end. You're like, point A, point B, go to this guy, fetch quests, get stuff, bring it back, get stuff, bring it back, you know, gather all the quests in the area, do them all, bring it back for the maximum amount of time, you know, maximum amount of experience in such a little time, you know, it's something like that. Also, combat in the game needs to be revamped, and this is that can be applied to every game, because Terra and Guild Wars 2 have applied both a new questing dynamic and combat. Combat, for example, they had like dodge rolls, they're more action orientated, you're more engaged. Now, naturally, in Guild Wars 2, you didn't really have that many skills than you would in you know, World of Warcraft. But honestly, in World of Warcraft, I don't think I use more than maybe like on a more usual kind of often use. I think I use maybe like 10 and 12 skills. If you're like, you know, if you want to add in your situational moves, then yeah, you'll probably use almost the entire spell book. Minus some of the janky things. Like, as a warrior, I don't think I'll ever use strike. In Guild Wars 2, you'll basically almost use everything it gives you, because that's how it is. That's how the game made it. So with the weapon skills, how they change and whatnot, you'll use all of them, and that's kind of cool that you'll actually use every single skill it has. And mind you, you're not stuck with just 4 skills, because you can weapon swap and all that crap. Anyways, Terra, I never played that game. I don't have an opinion on Terra, but I do know that it's more action oriented, and it's really cool. And I heard about its dodging, and it's really hard. Tanking is really fun, apparently, and whatnot. So I don't have much to say on that for the combat, but it's really cool. Guild Wars 2's dodge, that dodge roll, it's like a World of Warcraft, like a Legend of Zelda dodge roll. You know, you jump off of like a 30 million, you know, foot high cliff, and hit the ground, dodge roll, you're good to go. Parkour. Guild Wars 2's dodge is almost like that. You dodge as soon as someone's gonna hit you. Oh, you negate almost all the damage. You actually negate the entire damage during the roll action. The roll animation kind of nullifies all damage. So it's kind of cool. That's very useful in PvP. You know, some guy's gonna blow his awesome burst skill. Like, nope, roll, whatevs, don't care. Something like that. That adds a new dynamic in PvP. And if that could be applied to everywhere, I think it'd be much more intriguing, more engaging for a gamer. Now, the third thing I kind of want that'd be nice to see in games is a new setting, like World of Warcraft and Terra and Rift. All those games are all back in Neverwinter Nights kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of age time, you know? It's all fantasy. Like, I get it. I do. Like, Ultimate Online, I get it. It has to be a world where it can have, goblins and shit like that. That's cool. But what about Star Wars? Star Wars doesn't stop Star Wars from having a new setting. A futuristic setting. That's cool, you know? Secret World even has a new setting. That's cool too. I mean, it just, when you have a game that's in a different setting, when you break the borders, look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty has been stuck in World War I and World War II for like 3 games. Okay, the fourth game, it goes modern, best-selling game of all time. And then bam, and all the games after, it's like, we're going through the games, we're making bank off all these modern games. I'm not saying the setting should be modern. I'm saying that a new setting, going through a different approach, could probably make you rich. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that all games had to do that to get really popular. I mean, Minecraft, it's a new setting and a whole new idea. But as for MMOs, a new setting would be cool, because World of Warcraft's still popular, but Mist and Pandaria came out, and me, for myself, it's kind of like, meh. It's not fun. The glamour of World of Warcraft is over for me. If I was ever to come back to that game, it'd only be because my friends played it. I myself, going solo, I won't come back ever. It was a fun game, but now it's kind of like you guys are squeezing it too much. You may have added in a new setting for like China, but you're still stuck in a fantasy thing. And I feel like a new fantasy, like something different from a fantasy, some new quest dynamic, a new combat system. Speaking of new combat, War Z is a zombie MMO. The setting of that thing is in Colorado right now, and there's gonna be more maps. The questing dynamic, I don't even know what the quests are gonna be like, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty interesting. I hope. The combat is an FPS. This thing is an FPS MMO. You know, I don't really see that very often, an FPS MMO. I think the closest thing I've ever seen to that was like Hellgate London, and even then it was kind of meh. So wrapping up the discussion, MMOs need to be worked on. Developers should be looking into making quests more interesting so people actually care about, oh, what happened to this farmer guy? Or why is this farmer so sad? Because his son died. I didn't know that. Something like that. Instead of all their quest dialogue being TLDR'd all the time. Then fighting has to be more fun as well. So every kind of encounter fight is somewhat fun, instead of you going push 2, push 3, push 5, done. You know? And the setting, well, that could be, I don't know, the setting part, I wish it'd be done, but I don't think MMOs will be changing their setting at any point anytime soon. But MMOs, they're fun games. They really are fun, and they're fun with your friends, and fun with friends that and it helps you make friends. But the gameplay aspect of it, and the in-between from the beginning and the end of the end game, some people say that, it's about the end game. And it's true, it's definitely about the end game. You want to be that guy wearing, like, car tires as your shoulders with spikes on them and a flaming greatsword, That's what you want. You don't want to be that guy wearing leather armor and a +2 to health sword or whatever it is. But in a way, though, it is about the journey instead of the destination. You want to know how your character got there, or what happens in between. No one cares about the in between, so I think it'd be really good, very nice if companies worked on the in between part of the MMOs. So that's my kind of criticism, discussion about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Comment below if you have anything to add. If you want to give me your insight, or maybe I'm wrong about some things, you can tell me that as well. Anyways, have a good night, good morning, whatever. Goodbye. Goodbye, Internet. Bye.